Hey gang, welcome to another episode of Spurs with Spoons. This is another update video for you guys, show you what I got coming down the pipeline and some of the builds and ideas I have planned for you. I also have some other videos that you've seen I've been releasing, so I told you they were coming. Once I got everything settled down and all my schedule situation, things start moving along. Slowly but surely, we're moving along and we're gonna keep it going because like I said, this is how we get the hobby shop. So first things first, the next build video is a really special one. I was going through my stash trying to figure out what I wanted to do for you guys, and I realized August 2022 marks the 80th anniversary of the Guadalcanal campaign. Now personally, as a military history geek, it's probably my favorite campaign of the Second World War. It's one of those campaigns where it stood on a knife's edge, mainly because 1942 stood on a knife's edge. It was the high watermark for the Axis and the turning point for the Allies. And there were so many dramatic moments of that year. Guadalcanal is without exception. I mean, really, you have nail-biting naval engagements, you have brutal jungle combat between Marines and Japanese soldiers, and you have harrowing air combat. It is a campaign that has no shortage of drama. So I was rifling through my stash thinking about what do I have to commemorate Guadalcanal on its 80th anniversary, and voila, I came up with this. Eduard's P400 Cobra. This has been sitting in my stash for a minute. It'll be my first Eduard kit, and as you can see, it is a Profi pack, which means Eduard has a bunch of awesome goodies in here for you, such as canopy masks and really sweet photo etch. And this being a plane that has a car door cockpit, like it literally has a car door that opens up, you can really open that up and get a lot of great detail out of that cockpit. Where with, you know, a lot of other aircraft, you might end up closing it all up. So this would be a really awesome opportunity to detail the heck out of a cockpit. Eduard is one of those companies that is just exceptional. They come out of the Czech Republic. You could call them the Tamiya of Europe, if you will. They have so many cool subjects and variants of those subjects. Speaking of Guadalcanal, they most recently released their first run of their F4F Wildcat, which did take the lion's share of air combat during the Guadalcanal campaign. But the P400 was there, and it did a lot of bloody work to support the ground forces on the island. Now, the P400 is a variant of the P39 Cobra from Bell Aircraft. It's the export variant, so it would have been destined for the UK or the Soviet Union. I have all sorts of fun facts to tell you about this, but we're not going to get into it now. I'll include a lot more of that in the build video. Right now, let's pop this bad boy open. This is the cool decal sheet you get with the Eduard P400. You can see there's some awesome shark mouth options. We're not going to do those. Those are for the New Guinea campaign. We're going to be focusing on Guadalcanal. You also get a ton of stencil data in here. So, you know, if you want to paste all that to your airplane, go for it. Sometimes that stuff wore off, it got repainted, repaired, whatever, so it all wouldn't be on there in the field, but that's the extent you want to go to. Eduard made sure you can. So this is your awesome instruction booklet. They got a nice blurb here on the front about the history of the P400. On the inside, they have a really cool sprue map. So, you know, anything is blue is what you won't use. They say you're not going to use a bomb. I'm going to use a bomb. So just 3 sprues, got your clear parts, you got your masks, your pre-cut masks. Those are for your canopy, your walkways on your wing roots, and your wheels, and then you have your photo etch parts here. They have a paint call out. They use Aqueous, Mr. Color, and Mission Models. I'm actually going to use the Mission Models for this because I haven't got to use a lot of Mission Model paints, and this will be the opportunity to do so. Little glimpse at the instructions you see here. This is your photo etch added on to the parts you have. I won't bore you too much with the instructions, but they're very thorough, very nice, very clean and readable. They have 5 marking options in here. Like I said, some really cool shark mouth options from the New Guinea campaign. You see that one there. And you see both of those. Those are all from New Guinea, but the one we will be doing is very cool. It's this one here. You can't really tell from up here, but it's named the Resurrection. And as you can see here, we've got two different paint jobs. Well, I got two different paint jobs because this aircraft was made up of two crashed aircraft. I believe if it says up in here, this is another cool thing about Eduard real quick. Their marking options, they will include a nice history of the markings, who flew them, where they flew, what they would have looked like, all the information they could get to back up the markings they're giving you. So the fact that Eduard takes the time to give you historical detail behind the markings is very cool. So they give you this bit of research to why you're building it, what it means, where it came from. Now, if you see here, two different paint jobs, like I said, it's called the Resurrection, which means this aircraft was actually rebuilt from two aircraft that were lost in a crash. And then it was sent to Guadalcanal to fight with the 67th Fighter Squadron in the Cactus Air Force. These airplanes didn't have turbochargers in them, so they couldn't climb as high. They also didn't have oxygen tanks, so they couldn't fly as high either. So they couldn't really tangle with the bombers that flew high, and they really couldn't outfly the Japanese Zeros. But what they did discover is that they made amazing ground attack aircraft against the Japanese counter-invasion forces that were landing on the island. So this is going to be very, very cool, and I think it really encapsulates the desperation of the Cactus Air Force and the U.S. forces on the ground in Guadalcanal trying to hold Henderson Field. So this is going to be a very awesome build to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Guadalcanal. Clear parts, I'm not going to take them out of the bag. Well, I'm losing my canopy there. Clear parts look really cool. And the P39, P400 has this car door canopy. So that's going to open up really nicely into the cockpit and show off a lot of that cool detail that they give you. So, and you can kind of tell there, if I can get a good shot of it, it's got some really nice rivet detail and stuff on it. So that's going to be really cool, and it's going to be awesome to kind of show off that cockpit. We have just 3 sprues for this kit. So for a single engine World War II aircraft, pretty standard, 48 scale, and it's got just some awesome detail on it. Again, Eduard is just fantastic about their kits, and they've really cornered the market on the P39. So they have all the cool variants of the P39 and all sorts of markings. But like you can see there, a lot of awesome panel detail. You got the fabric and the ailerons. You have some rivet detail in there. So really excited. This is going to build up to something really special. Sprue, you got your wheels. You have several different kind of props. You have 3 different kind of props, but you'll only be using one. And then you have, you know, some underbelly stuff and some, just some odds and ends in your landing gear there. So that sprue. And then you have your fuselage. And again, just some really nice detail on there. Pretty standard for Eduard. Elevators there, interior detail. Going to be really cool. There's that bomb. I'm putting the bomb on there because, like I said, they really figured out that this was a really great ground attack aircraft. These are your masks. We're not going to take too hard of a look at these, but like it says in the instructions, these are pre-cut masks. So they're already cut out and they're already mapped out for you. So that saves a lot of time. I wish a lot more companies would do this, include the masks. Tamiya started including masks. It takes so much time to mask. And that's one of the big things about aircraft, especially the World War II aircraft, is masking the canopies. People get so intimidated by canopies, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a cost thing, production thing, I don't know. But I feel if companies started including more masks in their aircraft kits, I think it's just a no-brainer. I don't know why you wouldn't. But Eduard does this in their Pro-Fi packs. You can also buy them aftermarket from Eduard. They're amazing, and they're a huge help. They cut down on a lot of time and a lot of frustration. And then we have our sweet photo etch that they provide. So this is what they have. They have a really cool instrument panel. And then there's your interior car doors there. And then you have some, it's like some radiator screens. You get a good focus. They got seat belts in there. They got little switches and levers. So they're going to give you a really cool detailed cockpit with this stuff. So Really excited. I've never done photo etch on an aircraft besides the few seatbelts here and there. So I'm really excited to try this out. Now, to share with some other projects and some other things I've been working on with you guys. A second project I'm working on, and this is going to be for me. You can follow along on my Instagram, so I'll be sharing updates with the build as I go along. I know my Instagram has been a little sparse as of late, so this will be a really good opportunity to kind of really rev things up over there, if you will. Hank over at Sprues and Brews on Instagram and YouTube is hosting the Great Aces group build. Rules to this build is basically in the name, Great Aces. So any ace from any era, from any country. It has to be a confirmed ace, so that's 5 or more aerial victories. And other rule, it can be any scale of aircraft. So, you know, if you want to build teeny tiny to great big, well, there's 5 confirmed kills. He also has a ton of awesome prizes for the virtual contest. They're going to do like an online contest by popular vote. And he has a ton of cool prizes, a lot of cool Tamiya stuff that I would love to get my hands on. I'll share more of that later. This is the kit I'm going to do. It gave me the opportunity to bust out this bad boy. Tamiya's P38 F/G. This has been sitting on my shelf for a while. I've been wanting to get into it. I'm not going to make a video about it because you can swing a dead cat and hit a million videos about this kit for good reason. It's amazing. Tamiya has really set the bar high here, and it's quite frankly the standard in the future of kit development. Now, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with this because as you see here, it says Miss Virginia. You see a lot of the same markings up in this aircraft, which is fine. Miss Virginia is very cool. That's the aircraft that's credited with bringing down Admiral Yamamoto in 1943. But I did some searching and I was looking for different marking options for this aircraft. And I came across a really cool company I saw at the Roscoe Turner show here in Indianapolis called Fundekals. And they do a lot of awesome custom decals. I believe they work with Cartograph at some point, but they do tons of awesome research and they provide tons of awesome markings for all sorts of subjects. And they have a really cool sheet of decals for the P38. Let's check them out. As you can see, decal placement manual. They have tons of these, mainly from North Africa, the Mediterranean theater, and they have tons of historical information, very well researched. So whatever you want to build, you're making sure you're building the right thing because they put the effort into this. These detailed notes about, you know, what the colors should be, what they would have looked like, the crews involved, the missions they were involved in. You see this one has some air-to-air kills, looks like he hit a ship, a lot of bombing missions, a lot of flight missions, whatever that is. So tons of information and sweet options. Just, you know, I'm really torn. There's too many options. I really hate when there's too many options because, you know, I can only afford so many P38s, but I mean, I could build these for days. This kit builds up really well, and with markings like this, these include mostly, like I said, North Africa, Italy, the Mediterranean, I would say is the lion's share of these decals. But if you scroll down more and more and more, you'll start to see that they have P38Es from Alaska. I didn't know there was an E variant, but again, look at all this detail they include, right? They have all this information. This would have been the Aleutians campaign. And so you have several P38s from the Aleutians campaign, which is a very cool subject. And they even go as far to include the conversion notes. Now down here, these P38s with the shark nose, the 39th Fighter Squadron, 35th Fighter Group actually comes in the Tamiya box, but it's just the shark mouth. Now I really dig the shark mouth. Okay, I love the shark mouth. I love the blue nose cone here. This one is Japanese Sandman. Now I landed on this one for a very specific reason. This was flown by Richard E. Smith in New Guinea in 1943. And if you read down here in the history blurb, Richard E. Snuffy Smith made his first claim in a P-38 on 6 January 1943. That date is very special because that date is my birthday. So Out of all the very cool options, this is the one I landed on because it is on my birthday, and I think Japanese Sandman is a very sick name for a fighter aircraft. And you see here on this P-38, he actually has 6 confirmed kills. So this is what we're gonna go with here. And they have more. They have some from Guadalcanal here. Porky 2 looked very cool, fighting in Port Moresby in 43. And then if you come down here a ways, they actually have P-38s from Portugal as well. So you come down here and you get this camo scheme on a P-38, which looks very cool. So you get P-38s from North Africa, from the Mediterranean, the Aleutians campaign, the South Pacific, New Guinea, Guadalcanal, and even Portugal. I met Jonathan, the guy who runs it, at a couple of model shows, and I've talked his ear off. He's a great guy. If you see him, say hello, say what's up, buy something from him. He does a great job. Now I know what you're thinking. Another group build? Well, you saw my P40. That was a group build. And then I'm also still chugging away on my Sherman Mark III. That's for the Plastic Posse podcast, M3, M4 group build. This was intended for Nats. They did their presentation at Nats. They had an awesome turnout. I didn't get to go, obviously, which is fine. There's always next year. So it's been a really awesome opportunity to work on this kit, figure it out, try some new things. As you see, there's photo etch on there. Never really worked with photo etch. So it's going to be a really cool build series, as I said before, for you guys. So I have that coming down the pipeline too. But some of the prizes Hank has lined up for us, since I'm entering the American Aces group build, the prize that I really want to win. I'm not worried about winning, and I don't even know if I'll get this done on time. I have till October 1st. But he does have Tamiya's 148 scale P38J that they just released, which is the later variant of this. And it does have the markings for Marge, flown by America's highest scoring ace, Dick Bong. Yes, his name's Dick Bong. It is. Look it up. I'm serious. It's kind of hilarious. He's an American hero, but I'm a juvenile. What are you going to do? So, I'm throwing my hat in the ring. If I can get Tamiya's new P38 out of building this P38 and have a great time doing it, why not try? I'm not going to stress myself out too much about it, but that's what I'm shooting for. Now, with all that being said, I have one more announcement I would like to make. So when I first started this channel, I said something about potentially setting up a Patreon, creating some sort of port system or revenue stream for this. And the idea I had was a book and a build. So basically, it's part book club, part model club. You pick a kit, pick a subject, and then you pick a really cool piece of literature about it. So I've decided I'm going to start a Patreon for the book part of the build. I have a book picked out for the Guadalcanal build, and it is Cactus Air Force. It's published by Osprey Publishing, and they do a lot of military history, and they're really great. It's written by Eric Hamill and Thomas McKelvey Cleaver. Eric Hamill is a extensive historian on Guadalcanal and marine history in general, and Thomas Cleaver is an amazing military aviation historian. I actually just read his book, The Tonkin Gulf Yacht Club, which is about the U.S. Navy air campaign in Vietnam. He's a fantastic author on the subject, very extensive. I mean, he's an aviation nerd after my own heart. So Cactus Air Force, that's coming out in September of 2022. So that's not going to be till next month. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to get that book, and then I'm going to figure out how to set up a Patreon. Maybe I'll read snippets to you guys. It'd be a nice little bedtime story. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can chime in. If there's people out there that are interested, hit me up on Instagram, or I think you can message me on YouTube or whatever. But I think that'll be a really cool opportunity to kind of start a book club, because I love doing the research behind these things. And not only the research, but understanding the historical ramifications and the experiences and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to shoot for. So we're going to do a book and a build. The book's going to be on Patreon, and we're going to get that rolling starting next month. Hopefully, I'm kind of slow on all this stuff, so I might be biting off a little too much than I can chew, but hey, I'm hungry, baby. There's Jeff. He's even into it. You hear him? So that's what I got lined up. And I'll also add a list of Guadalcanal books in the description of this video because there's tons of awesome literature on Guadalcanal. I'm actually reading Jeffrey R. Cox's series on the history of the Solomon's campaign, and he does a very great job of detailing everything about the battle and the broader campaign in general. So I'll include sources to books if you guys are interested. If you're unfamiliar with the Guadalcanal campaign, or you just want to add to your library, then hey, have at it. So that's what I have lined up for you guys. I appreciate everybody who's watched. I know it's very small right now. I have a decent amount of followers on Instagram for what it is, and there's a lot of cool stuff on Instagram. I'm following a lot of people. Whoever's viewing on YouTube, I really appreciate it. Again, it's not huge. I have literally a handful of videos. I think I have 5, and one of those I accidentally posted twice, so let's say 4. Your support is greatly appreciated, and like I said, this is how I get to where I want to go. And I'm more than excited to bring you along with me. So please like and subscribe and stay tuned. I'm your pal Spoons, hobby shop or bust. I'll see you next time.